Yo guys, what's going on? It's Catman227 here, and we're back with some more Junkensteins Revenge, aka Gameplay Breakdown. Now, today we're moving on to Soldier 76, the slasher himself. Alright, this is going to be an interesting one, because Soldier is probably the most used character in Junkenstein's Revenge. Via endless or regular, doesn't matter. He is consistently played 9 out of 10 times when you load into a match, you're going to see somebody go Soldier. And I'm going to explain why. He is, alongside what is now Cassidy and Hanzo, he is easily one of the top 4 best characters to use in Junkenstein's Revenge, especially when you pair him up with an Ana, but I'm going to talk about that a little later. So, let's go over his first ability, Sprint. He can switch between so many different places, it's insane. So, you can run around the map, you can literally go anywhere on the fly. So, that high ground that I'm shooting at right now, you can easily zip your way up there if you needed to and shoot down, and you can run all the way to the burning cart and stand on top of that, run around there for a bit. You can even go towards the door and go up that little staircase that goes up on the, I believe, the left, or it depends on which way you're facing, but for me it's my right, but if you're facing it, it would be the left. Anyway, so you go up there and you can take the high ground up there. It's always best with Soldier to take the high ground, such as Hanzo, Widow, and pretty much every other hit scan character in the game. Now, that's how the sprint is pretty basic when it comes to, using it to get from point A to point B. However, I'm going to talk more along his pulse rifle, which does moderate damage, doesn't exactly do as much as Hanzo or Cassidy would do, but if you're wondering why I'm saying Cassidy, is because for those of you who are watching this that don't know, McCree had his name switched to Cassidy, so now I'm going to start referring to him as Cassidy. So, with that out of the way, so the pulse rifle does medium damage. It's nothing too special, but if you can consistently land your headshots, then it'll do lots of damage, and you won't really need to worry. You'll do pretty much the same damage as Cassidy or Hanzo, or even Zenyatta for that matter. But, the burning cart is kind of my sweet spot to be at with Soldier. However, if you're going to pop tac visor, I would say go up on that high ridge part. Or maybe even where Reaper's standing right there. You could probably run all the way up there, get right there, then shoot from behind. That would probably be, a good strategy because you can see everything. I kind of just pop it here just to kind of clear the whole thing out because he is especially good for taking out small Zomnics. I would not personally use him to take out bosses. I think I do try to do that in this video clip, but that's only to demonstrate how poorly he does it. Because, you're not really going to make much a difference using tac visor to kill him. You might as well just use, shoot a Helix rocket and kind of just let the Zenyatta and the Cassidy deal with it. But a Soldier, I don't think... if there's nothing to shoot at, then yeah, go ahead and just start shooting the bosses. But Helix rocket is really good for taking out those rip tires, by the way. That's pretty much the only thing that I would save Helix rockets for, is rip tires, especially if you're playing in endless. It's really useful. I know there's going to be times where you're just going to have to use your, fully automatic assault rifle to gun down the thing because your Helix rockets are on cooldown, which is understandable, but it's a really good method, especially if you kind of have a sense, I know main Soldier players are going to get this. If you projectile aim your Helix rockets and kind of predict where the tire is going to go and kind of meet in the middle with it, if you know what I'm saying, you can easily take out the rip tire every single time. Because obviously your Helix rockets is a projectile, so you'll have to do a little bit of prediction to see where that all's going to go. But I would say Soldier is pretty mostly based on just crowd control, really. And he's probably the best character for doing so besides Torb, which we'll get into him in a later video. I'm not going to talk about him right now, but I don't know. Soldier is kind of one of those characters where he's really good at everything, but it's kind of difficult to determine when you should be doing what. So, right there, if I would not have killed that Omnic with my Helix rocket, then I would have been able to get the Riptire a little bit easier, which, don't get me wrong, the assault rifle, the pulse rifle, is definitely a good method, because, I mean, it's a fully automatic machine gun, so obviously it's easy to take out the Riptire pretty quickly, but as to opposed to the Helix rocket, which can do it in one hit, it's just a lot quicker, it's a lot faster, it's definitely a much larger benefit to you as the player and your team to save your Helix rockets and only use it for Riptires, because it's not really going to do all that much for crowd control, considering you can only hit one enemy with it, or maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4, if the circumstances are right and they're all grouped up together. But it'd be much more efficient to just hit it with the Helix, to hit the Riptire with the Helix rocket and leave it at that. Sometimes if you have Tac Visor activated, sometimes you'll, maybe accidentally hit it, or you'll just not have very much to shoot at. So you can kill all the Zomnics that, like the small Zomnics that you're going to kill with the ability, but if a Riptire comes out, you could possibly use it to kill the Riptire, because it does lock on to the Riptire. I found this out during this gameplay, actually. So Soldier is really good for Riptires. However, I don't think that should be your main priority. I mean, if you do happen to see that you do have your Helix rockets off of cooldown, then go ahead, fire your Helix rockets at, oh, here we go. This is what I was talking about. Yeah, you can fire your, just save your Helix rockets, and then if you see a Riptire, shoot the Helix rockets at it, and just kind of save it for that. But don't go out of your way unless you're the only person who can do it. Like Zenyatta should be hitting Riptires. If you have a Cassidy, he should be shooting Riptires. If you have a Widowmaker, she should really be hitting Riptires. And even Hanzo. But Hanzo's kind of meh. I think he should be doing other things, which go watch my Hanzo video if we're going to talk about him. But with Soldier, I think he's a little bit more better to use against Riptires than Hanzo, just because Hanzo has to really rely on aim, as to opposed to if you miss with the machine gun, you can just correct. I mean, you have 30 bullets, so you can just, start firing, and if you just so happen to miss, you can just correct yourself and finish it off. It's just much easier to do it that way. But the Helix rockets, I would say, is better to use because it's a one-hit, and you can just use your pulse rifle for crowd control. But I would not prioritize bosses with Soldier at all. Maybe if there's nothing to shoot at, like very, very, very few Zomnics and no Riptires, then yeah, just go ahead and shoot at the boss. But the second you see more Riptires and Zomnics come out, you should be trying to kill those, and just leave the other characters to deal with the boss. Preferably somebody like Zenyatta with Discord, or Cassidy with Flashbang and Fan the Hammer, Hanzo with his headshots, things like that. That just seems to be a better way to kill bosses, as to opposed to Soldier, who doesn't really do all that much damage towards bosses. I mean, you can spray like a little bit of damage into a boss here and there. Like, she has Discord, okay, so the Mercy has Discord, so I could just go ahead and just start shooting her. But I don't really do all that much damage anyway. It was actually the McCree that basically one-hit her. So, as you can see from right there. Now, here, this is the final boss. This is just the absolute last guy. So I just started unloading into him. So that was fine. But I would definitely, if I were you, try to prioritize killing Riptires and crowd control, and definitely take the high ground. I know I didn't do that here, but it would definitely be more beneficial to take the high ground. But anyway, if you guys have enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know which character you want me to review next, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.